Homage to the Blessed, Noble, and Perfectly Enlightened One. Namo Saranto Suchedo Ye Lahodi San Miao San Puto Xie. Namo Tạc Đắc Tha Tơ Già Đà Già La Đế Tam Miệu Tam Bồ Đà Tọa. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million aeons is difficult to encounter. Now that I am able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it. I vow to fathom the thus come one's true and actual principles. Wu shang sheng sheng wei miao fa bai jian wan jie nan zao yu wo jin jian wen de shou chi yuan jie ru lai zhe shi. O Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Great Master Ching Liang, Great Master Shen Hua, all good monks and nuns, and all good known advisors of Mê Tô Phổ. Chư Phật Bồ Sát, Chinh Liang Đại Sư, Sư Phụ Sang人, 各位出家人, 各位善知识, Mê Tô Phổ. Chư Phật Bồ Tát, kính thưa Thanh Lương Đại Sư ở Thượng Điên Hóa, quý thầy cô và quý vị thiện sư thức A Di Đà Phật. Hello everyone. Today is the 24th of March 2024. Thank you all for joining our discussion of the first chapter of the Avatamsaka Sutra. We are on slide 541, near the end of the section that describes the world rulers, the celestial kings who ruled over the fourth desire heaven, or also known as Tushita heaven, where Maitreya Bodhisattva is currently residing, waiting to become a Buddha. Sutra text: though in the world can see his various physical features, thus enters a God happiness like a cow.
种种色相是闲见，此喜祭天之所入。
Okay, 542. The prior slides talked about the fact that the Dharma body of the Buddha is markless, okay, it's everywhere pervasive. This slide here, he says, however, those in the world can see his various physical features, meaning that he makes it so that we can observe, we can see him in person as a Buddha. Okay, and this is one of the attributes of helping others. When you help others, you must go near them. If you give to others, it's best to give it with your own hands. So in the same fashion, Buddhas, when they needed to cross over living beings, they personally go to our worlds and speak Dharma to them. Okay, and in doing so, they also manifest various physical features, namely, like Shakyamuni Buddha. All Buddhas, they have the 32 hallmarks of great men and 80 subtle characteristics. Okay, so in the presence of Buddhas, you see that your heart feels happy, and you feel your mind brings forth through this sense of awe and respect. He's such a virtuous being that everyone who sees him will bring forth this kind of admiration and respect for him. Okay, thus enters a God happiness like a cow. Happiness like a cow. It reminds me of the French cheese there, laughing cow. Okay, next, in the past, the thus come ones cultivated numerous practices. The pure great vows were deep like the ocean.
如来往昔修诸行，清净大愿深如海。
Okay, next slide here. In the distant past, a long, long time ago, because it takes a while for you to become a Buddha, or us become Buddhas. Okay? All the Buddhas cultivated numerous practices on the causal grounds. Causal grounds refer to the times when they were practicing Bodhi, and they were going everywhere as conditions arose to practice. So that's where causal grounds means. Meaning it's not surprising. At first, for example, for us, we cultivate here in the Saha world. Eventually, then you reborn, change body, and you cultivate other worlds as well. That's very possible, depending on where your karmic retributions take you. Okay, so that's why one of the 4 two hands and eyes we practice. As a hand, it says you will meet with we're born in the palaces of the Buddhas, and that's a hand that helps us create blessings for us to go to various Buddha lands to practice. Think of it as vacation. Okay? It's fun. Don't be like a Chinese and a Vietnamese where cultivation is so dry and cut, like true cultivators, that kind of thing. That's skewed towards suffering. I advocate happiness in cultivation. Popular theme, yes. And so, what are the various practices? They practice all sorts of practices, but all these practices all fall under the classifications of paramitas. The 6 paramitas, the 10 paramitas, they all are the major classifications of how you unfold your wisdom. So now, thank you. Now we are low levels, therefore we start with 6 paramitas. When you become a bodhisattva, guess what happens to you? Oops, I shouldn't ask you this because you know the answer, would you? Okay, pretend you know the answer. Assume you're a bodhisattva. What do you think you'll be doing? Practicing. Must be something else, no? Yes. Siete.
You'd be practicing more levels of perfection.
What?
More levels of perfection.
More levels of protection?
Of perfection.
Perfection. So perfection of what again?
Of the Dharma.
Okay, perfection of Dharma. Which Dharma are we talking about?
The true and perfect Dharma.
True perfect Dharma. And does it have a color?
Does it have a color?
Yeah, I mean. Thank you.
You should.
Excuse me, I'm busy. Perfecting. Come back. Okay, now it makes my day. Hint, hint. Okay, so when you talk about perfecting more perfections, what kind of dharmas are we talking that need to be perfected? We Americans, right? We need to be specific. Like, when you play ping pong, you perfect the forehand stroke. You don't do ping pong? Yeah? Anyone? Yes, 7. Go ahead, finish your.
I know there are certain dharmas that get perfected, including cultivation dharma and dharma associated with the sutras.
Okay.
And there's another, and I can't recall what that is.
Okay, very good. DTT. You go to DTT now, it's such an international kind of thing.
Sir, I think the bodhisattvas are continuing perfecting the paramitas.
Perfecting the paramitas.
Yeah.
But don't you have to be able to perfect the paramitas before you become a bodhisattva? You see, people, they're asking already.
No, that's what the Mary Jo says, deepen the practice of 6 paramitas and 10 paramitas.
Are they the same? No, when we're talking of perfecting the dharmas.
Yes.
What? They're the same.
Sorry, I don't get the question. What are the same?
Well, what were we again?
I was answering the question of the perfecting which dharma does. So
Yeah, which dharmas are you perfecting? Are they perfecting?
that's what I was saying, the paramitas.
The paramitas? The bodhisattvas are perfecting the paramitas? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think they're still practicing the paramitas.
But my question is, didn't they have to perfect the paramitas before they become bodhisattvas?
I think the different mapping to different level. Like the first ground bodhisattva is supposedly perfected the giving, and then second one is precept, and so on and so forth. So they may have perfected certain level, but not the advanced levels.
Very good. Okay, let's be precise. Yes, 6.
Thank you, Master. I think there's 2 things that come to mind. If I imagined what I would do on day 1 of becoming a bodhisattva.
Okay.
If I was a ping pong player, which I am, I would cultivate the dharma of inconceivable forehand serve.
It's getting deep. Real deep.
But with farming in my family's background, I think I would also cultivate the dharma of planting innumerable blessings.
It sounds profound, but it doesn't. It's not that profound. Okay, yes, 1.
Dạ, Nam Mô Di Đà Phật Thầy. Kính chào Thầy. Dạ, con nghĩ rất là đơn giản, đó là muốn thành một Bồ Tát thì phải đi phục vụ cho chúng sanh. Trước tiên là phải phục vụ và phụng sự cho tất cả chúng sanh để được viên mãn cái Bồ Đề đạo của mình. Dạ, Nam Mô Di Đà Phật.
Amitabha. Hello, Master. I think very simple is that at first they have to serve and attend to the need of living being before they can perfect the body's way.
Okay, very good. Anyone else? Yes, What happened? There you go. You're real characters.
Probably make some vows first, so that if I become bodhisattva, I know what I want to work on all the way towards Buddhahood.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Don't tell it to the others. Okay, because we learn Buddhism. We heard of so many things. That's why every now and then it helps to kind of put them in perspective. Okay. First of all, when you become enlightened, you don't need to serve living beings. Oops. Okay? You don't have to. That's the nice thing about it. Otherwise, most of us will not make it. Let's face it, all we care about is our family, our children, our loved ones. And if that's number one for us, then how can we possibly become enlightened? Yes? So you don't have to serve living beings, okay? You have to do certain things right. But after you become enlightened, you become a bodhisattva, then you you learn to perfect these bodhisattva practices. Does it make sense? This will help put things in perspective for you. Okay? Because we hear so much, we read so much about Buddhism. And this is the process. There's certain things you need to do for you to become enlightened. Okay? And then once you become enlightened, that's when you are taught to learn how to serve others, to serve living beings. All right? More and more and better. Does it help? Okay? So that's correct. Meaning that you can be very selfish, you can be not a good, very pleasant person most of the time. Okay? But you still can become enlightened. Okay? There's hope for us. Okay? Because otherwise, we'd have no chance whatsoever. Okay? But once you have wisdom, then we guide you to practice this 10 paramitas. Okay? First paramita, first ground bodhisattva, they come to the world, to this world, to practice giving. They will keep on giving and giving and giving and giving until they perfect it. Is that clear? So for example, the bodhisattvas, they would come to our world, choose to be born in our world, and what they spend their lifetime doing is to keep on giving and giving and giving, non-stop. Okay? What about second ground bodhisattva? What do they do? There is a bodhisattva in Korea who was in Korea, and he's dead now, so that's why I can talk about him. He came to our world to practice one thing, that is his strength. He did a lot of things, but the one thing that stands out is his precepts. He's a very pure person. He taught things and he teaches. He taught, for example, in Korea, that particular monk, he taught people how to recite Buddha's name and so forth. But the real practice is not Pure Land, but it is to practice morality. He led a very pure life, free from greed, anger, stupidity. Okay? Number 3. Yes. What's number 3? Third ground bodhisattva. They come in our world to do what? 7.
To learn patience, to endure what cannot be endured.
To practice patience. And so forth. You see? So that's why it's amazing, because you see how the depth of our practices. When we give, imagine yourself spending your entire life giving and giving and giving and thinking of more ways to give more and more and more of yourself. Okay? Third ground bodhisattva, they practice patience. Okay? So they have to learn to endure more and more things that are difficult to endure. So this is a reminder for you. So don't tell me that now I certify you to be a certain level and say, how come it's still hard? No, it gets harder and harder and harder because it helps you improve. If you don't find any hardship, you have no obstacles, you cannot improve. Is that clear? So actually, you see these bodhisattvas, they don't come to our worlds to take it easy, to have it easy at all. Actually, they come here and they find more and more difficulties in their paths. So those are, see, so the 10 ground bodhisattva from 1 to 10, they practice, they tend to perfect the 10 paramitas. So for example, on the 4th ground bodhisattva, okay, they practice vigor, yes? Meaning that they come to our world and practice vigorously. They don't rest and they try to do this, try to do that, without relentlessly, okay? And after that, they die, and then what happens? They come back again and practice again the patience paramitas until they deserve to be promoted. We're tough, you know. We're a lot tougher than the armed forces. It's not like the armed forces, you kiss up to your commanding officer and you make it, you know, and they pull you up. No, in the bodhisattvahood, it's very tough. You have to pass the grades, and then they give you tougher and tougher assignments. Isn't that interesting? Final question. Yes, DTT.
Master, so if a 5th ground bodhisattva comes to this world and she starts from 0 and she still has to practice like the first 4 paramitas first and before she starts to practice the 5th, right? So they don't just come and start practicing like their level, their ultimate level, but they have to start from step 1.
Is that a lighting or is it you looking like a girl nowadays?
I take it as a compliment. Thank you, Master.
No, it's not my question.
It's the lighting, I guess.
It's the lighting, huh? It's strange. Anyway, where were we again? Yes, it turns out that when a bodhisattva is born in our world, they're just like us, confused like heck. Okay, they fought with their parents. They would not listen to their parents. They take drugs, and and they get pregnant and all those things. Excuse me, I'm not advocating that. Okay. I know, sorry. Erase that. Edit that out. Okay. And so they make all sorts of mistakes, just like us. They're real. They're not like this thing where we're so special with bodhisattva, so they're born in countries for bodhisattvas and so forth. They're just like us. They're born to, screwed up families and, and so forth. But what happened is that their blessings are such that they're protected by their own blessings. Remember, they're like 5th ground bodhisattva. So they have, what it means is that when you certify the 5th ground bodhisattva, that means that you have the blessings of the 5th ground bodhisattva. You're untouchable. Yeah, you like stainless steel. Okay, and you can, you cannot get rust. Doesn't sound right. You know what I mean. Okay, so the nature of your blessing is what's so cool about it. Whatever you do right now, whatever level you attain, it's yours forever. No one can take it from you, except for me. If I get upset, it's different. Okay? So this is amazing. this is your treasure. So wherever you go, okay, the nature of your blessings, this level of blessings will make it so that you will survive all sorts of troubles and difficulties and hardships and so forth, and you reach this level again, eventually. So that's your treasure. Not the money in the bank accounts, not the money in your stock indices. No, this is your real treasure is this, that you take it with you everywhere you go. Whatever body you take is still this level of blessings. That's why, for example, I'm not saying it's this thing here is a bodhisattva. You heard of the story of a lady in New York who died? Rich lady who died, who left 20 million to her cat. She's got to be a bodhisattva. Isn't that funny? I mean, imagine what we can do with 20 millions. See? Got to be a bodhisattva cat. We don't have 20 million, let's face it. Okay, so that's why, yes, you will be guided, you will be protected no matter what happens, and you eventually reach its level again. Okay, when you reach its level, then you naturally will be reminded to continue to practice samadhi. So you and so forth. Cool? So this is why people from a Pure Land, they send here. Amitabha Buddha send them here. Okay? And because they have the blessings over there, so when they come here, still the blessings here. So they will be brought to that level again, and they can practice here instead of a Pure Land. That's what happens. All right. Final question. If you talk to a fifth ground bodhisattva, meaning he specializes in practicing samadhi, yes? So he's very strong in samadhis, okay? When he does that, what about the other four? Does he practice them? Yes, black shirt.
Of course.
I'm at a loss. I don't know what to call him anymore. Yes, 5.
Yeah, of course he does. He's already perfected them, so it's already.
You perfect them, and you still have to do them.
Of course, yeah.
Then why perfect them? I mean, you're like a Catholic. I say I'm God, so I don't have to do anything. I do what I feel like. Then why bother being a God? Why bother perfecting it if you still have to keep on doing it? Yes, 6.
Thank you, Master, because I believe it would be like riding a bicycle. Once you learn how, it just comes naturally to you. So if you've already perfected the paramita of patience, and you're moving to the next, you are patient to be able to do the next as well.
Okay, it turns out your 5th level samadhi, you are still doing all 5 paramitas. All 5. You don't simply do one. You do the first 2, 3, first, second, third, fourth, and 5th. That's what they do. That's why it's harder. It takes longer. You see, once you get up there, it takes a long, long time. Okay? That's why. In the past, that's why it says here in this slide, in the past, he's got to do it over and over and over again. And harder and harder. The giving of the 5th ground bodhisattva is a lot bigger than the giving of the fourth ground bodhisattva. Is it clear? Much bigger. (545) The pure great vows were deep like the ocean. Okay. Pure vows refers to their vows that are selfless. They are free from greed, anger, stupidity. Okay, they're free from the poisons. That's why they're pure. You cannot talk about pure. You don't become pure by using filters. You become pure by shedding the greed, anger, and stupidity. Okay? So it gets purer and purer because you're less greedy, you're less angry, you're less stupid. Okay? Meaning what? The reality now. Okay? This is a misconception about Buddhism. They prefer to make it, the Chinese, Asians prefer to make it like abstract and vague. Okay? It's easier for the layman. But actually, Bodhisattvas too, they have their impurities. So they need to keep on refining themselves. But the difference is that the purity is much higher level, okay, than ours. So far, so good, okay? So that's why in the Pure Land, they're practicing with, the Bodhisattvas are practicing with the lay people, with the low level, together, all mixed together, because that's how they purify themselves. Because when you pure and you're next to someone impure, okay, that helps you purify yourself even more. Does it make sense? So that this person's impurity cannot affect you. This is the Bodhisattva's practices. They don't say, I'm special, therefore I only deal with my level. No, they deal with all, see the whole spectrum? They keep on refining it. That's what's so beautiful about it. Bodhisattva path is very, very, they mix. They don't separate themselves like now we're privileged, like we're nobility, we don't deal with you anymore. They go everywhere, do everything. All right? So that's pure. How about great? You can talk about anything you want, but great here, let me simplify it for you. Great here, great vows here refers to the fact that nothing they do is small. They only do big things. Okay? They don't waste time doing things. Their range, the vision is so big, not tiny. Okay? That's why it's great. This is humongous, big, far-reaching, far-encompassing, nothing small at all. Why? That's the nature of wisdom. You see more, you see bigger. So naturally your problem you're solving is much bigger, much more effective, much more beneficial. Make sense? Okay, next. 546. All Buddha Dharmas were brought to perfection. Supreme virtue knows the skill it means.
一切佛法皆令满，圣德能知此方便。
And so 547. All Buddha Dharmas are brought to perfection, meaning that all the various practices in Buddhism are cultivated by them to perfection. All, not just specialists. They don't just say, I only practice Chan. I only practice Pure Land. That's very low level. Yes, 8.
Thank you, Master. We have a question on YouTube from Dean Tai. Is helping wash dishes considered a small thing, Master?
It depends on who you're helping. Isn't it obvious? If you help me, it's not the same as helping Donald. Helping a beggar certainly is very small compared to helping the president. Right? So it depends. And Supreme Virtue knows this skill it means. So he's very, very skilled at using expedience to practice helping others. 548. The thus come one's Dharma body defies conceptualization, casting reflections throughout the Dharma realm.
如来法身不思议，如影分形等法界。
Okay. Again, the Dharma body here is inconceivable. It's a reminder that no matter how smart you are, you cannot you will never be able to conjure up his Dharma body. It's not possible for you. So therefore, imagine, we have a professor here today, so that's why I'm picking on her a little bit. Imagine you're a professor in Buddhology, and you say, I want to be the most knowledgeable person, the expert on Buddhology and Buddhism. Okay? There's one thing you'll never be able to understand is the Dharma body. It's impossible. Intellectually, it's not possible. Okay? So that's why that path of intellectuals or working with the conscious mind has limitations. It has a limit. Okay? And so this Buddha here, this Dharma body Buddha is inconceivable. There's no way for us to conceive of it. Even Bodhisattva has a hard time seeing the Dharma body, the Buddha themselves, let alone us. And what we're learning here as well is that from this Dharma body here, the Buddha has reflections, okay? He's shooting out reflections, okay? Throughout the universe, very much like this moon up there in our skies, okay, reflecting off the water bodies down here. Everywhere there's water, okay, there's reflection on the moon. Everywhere there's something that the surface can be reflected, the moon is reflected off that. The image of the moon appears. That's how Buddhas function. Is really inconceivable. All right? 550. Everywhere he elucidates all dharmas, the God, quest, and light gain this liberation.
处处阐明一切法，极尽光天解脱门。
Everywhere, meaning that wherever anyone is practicing a Buddha Dharma in the universe, anywhere at all, okay? Anyone who practices the Buddha Dharma, Buddhas will appear and to explain, to expound, to elaborate clearly everything. Okay? That's just with Buddha Dharma. He also is able to explain and clarify every single Dharma. This is the Buddha's wisdom. For example, you're a researcher in a lab. Okay? Buddhas can manifest you some sort of manifestation to help you make progress in your research. I have a relative who's in math, and he says that it's a smaller scale. In math, the Indians are very good with numerical analysis. It's the study of numbers. Okay? In their math world, the Indians are experts. They are making advancements and discoveries in numerical analysis. So there used to be an Indian professor who's very, very good in numerical analysis that the American universities, the big ones, invited him to come over from India to the United States to work on some research papers with a big shot here in the US. So this Indian professor came to the U.S. and with pomp, with fanfare, there's big banners, welcome, great professor, Nobaradi, The Indians have such long last names, and they make a big deal. They came back and they started research. And after a while, they realized this Indian professor is so plain. He can't really he's not that great. He's not that productive. He doesn't have any real insights at all. So they're curious. They said, what happened? Clearly, your papers, your research paper in the past are incredibly insightful. Okay? So what happened? They couldn't figure it out. And so the Indian professor, was let down, so he went back to his country with back to India again with how much achievements. And then, so they found out later. So before he left, he confided to his buddy here in the U.S. They asked him, "What happened? What happened? How come you're so productive in India and not here?" The Indian professor says, "Oh, it's because when I was in India, every time I had to do research, I prayed to an Indian god. And the next day, I have these discoveries, these insights that came from I don't know where. So every time he needed to produce in India, he prayed to an Indian god, Shiva, Vishnu, whoever it is. He didn't tell exactly. Okay, that's how he made his research. But when he came to the U.S., the Indian god refused to come to the U.S. Says, they don't have curry there. You see, Buddhas are different. Buddhas have no restriction about curries. Yeah, cool. Would that be cool to us, for us to? So this is a tip for you researchers and professors. Pray the Buddhas. Excuse me. The God quest and light gained this liberation. He awakened to this principle. Okay? 552. Sentient beings are fettered and covered over by karma and delusion. Prompted by pride, arrogance, and indulgence, their minds drift and wander.
众生业惑所缠缚，骄慢放逸心驰荡。
Okay. 553. Sentient beings are fettered and covered over by karma and delusion. Not just sentient beings, this includes boys as well. Yeah? Fettered, the bound. Okay? Fu, chan is bound. Okay, fettered, okay, like fetters. So you bound, okay, and covered over. Fu, the fu, the nature of feathered is that you cannot move. You don't have the freedom of movement. Okay, you're restricted, and fu is so physically you're restricted, and fu is that. Over your head, I mean, Chinese-speaking people, you can correct me, okay? I'm pretending to understand your Chinese language, but I don't. It just sounds good, but you know. Okay. The fu is that it's like the clouds covering up. Okay. Like today, for example, it's supposed to be very sunny, but there's a cloud cover, so that it's not as clear, as bright as it's supposed to be. Okay? How is that? Because of our karma and our delusion. So we are bound, we are covered up, we cannot see clearly because of our karmas and delusion. What karma are we talking about? This is not anyone else. This is the human condition. This is us. Okay? What karmas? We do things to bind ourselves and to cover ourselves up. Example, please. JMT, XS2, give me an example of what you do that creates, that binds you and covers you up. See, you have to think about it. I rest my case. You do it every single day and you don't even realize it anymore. Isn't that interesting? But this is our human condition. Go ahead. Can't hear you. Go ahead. Yeah, we can hear you.
I think the things that I do that cover me up, like the sutra says, is thinking about my family and my past life.
Think about what?
My family and my past life.
Your family and your past lives. Okay. Very good. So how does thinking your family bind you and covers you up?
Mm-hmm. It takes too much energy for my thinking, and it makes it more difficult for me to cultivate, I think.
I see. Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? Yeah?
I would like to think about more people and not only about the people that I care. And I think I am very limited by this reason.
Okay. That's what we do. We create karma, we do things to bind, restrict ourselves, restrict our moon. In particular, family, he's right. The binding is from the family. And covered up? How do you cover ourselves up? Blackie. Yeah, Blackie.
So if you only thinking about your family, the family is bound to have some sort of drama, and you're probably going to get dragged into it somehow. That's how it would cover you up. Because when you get involved in drama and things like that, it obscures your clear mind from thinking correctly.
Okay, very good. Anyone else? Continue.
I was gonna give you a different answer to what fetters and covers people up.
Yes.
Kind of blindly following political ideologies.
Are you Republican or Democrat?
We talked about this before.
We did.
Yeah, but I think if you follow everything that one side agrees with, kind of blindly, then you're binding yourself to the ideology and obscuring yourself from making your own decisions and thoughts about how your own political thoughts.
I'm being in a good mood. I will not give anyone a hard time today. I want you to have a good last image of me. Yes, 6.
Thank you, Master. I'm going to go there. Please stop me if you need to. Imagine that you were helped by a very powerful person, or your family was helped. Let's say John McCain, for example. And you're loyal to that person.
Mm-hmm. The Vietnamese are very loyal to John McCain. They helped the Vietnamese a lot. Yes.
Yeah, he was a great patriot and helped a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Not just the Vietnamese, that's correct.
And then this
John
Saha
McCain
world,
is a Democrat, right?
you know, I think that's part of the point. So the thing about the Saha world I've experienced in my short time on it is things change. And if you stay attached to the way things were and the people who were, you cover yourself up from what you're experiencing right now.
Good point. Anyone else? How do you cover yourself up? Yes. Now we have the perspective from a professional mind
I'm going there.
doctor.
I'm going there. When I think of covered up, I think of anything that covers your light.
Your light.
So
Yes.
engaging in negative preoccupations or worries that take your mind into dark places and listening to those worries and thoughts.
Very good. Mm-hmm. Excellent. Mm-hmm. Ideology, shall we say? Would that be a cover? He says, I am Republican. What happened to all the Republicans in Northern California? They all disappear. These traitors. Good thing. Let's take a survey, just in curious. Who's Democrat here today? Only one. You cover yourself up with your thinking mind. It's very insulting, but that's the case. You think you are Republican. You think you're Democrat. You think I am male. You see, all those thoughts here, every time you think, you're covering yourself up. Is that too much? So therefore, those Catholics who think they're Catholics, I rest my case. Yes, sir.
I also definitely have this problem with, or definitely had it, especially like, I think a lot of kids have that, like you want something for Christmas, like maybe a game or like a PlayStation or something, and that's the only thing you can think about. And then that's the first thing that binds you,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yes, that's it.
And
My life is meaningless unless unless I get it.
yeah, exactly. Then you go to school and that's all you can think about. You can't focus on your classes, things like that, and that's the only thing on your mind. I'm talking specifically like a child during like Christmas time, right? And the only thing they can think about is going home and that thing that they're gonna get, right? And I think people carry that into their older age as well, where they're like really greedy for something, and that's all they can think about, and they start making mistakes, doing the wrong things, because that's the only thing that's on their mind is very binding.
So now we talked about it. What can we do? Any volunteers? Those who find yourself bound or covered up, now you realize you have such issues, such problems. What are we supposed to do? Six.
Thank you, Master. I believe one option is to drop those thoughts.
Drop those thoughts. All right. Anyone else? Yes, Bosco. Let's give Bosco a voice here.
I remember this is I just quote from Master. So Master used to say, if I remember correctly, Master said, think less.
Think less. Okay, very good. One, you will not make money doing that. Yes.
Dạ, kính thưa thầy, không biết câu chuyện này có đúng giống như buổi sáng hôm nay tụi con trên đường đi đến chùa thì có một chiếc xe chắn ngang chạy trước mặt xe của tụi con, và từ đó chạy chậm, rồi có lúc thì cũng như là cũng như họ chạy mất cái thăng bằng hay sao không biết, mà cứ lách qua lách lại. Xong lúc đó thì con suy nghĩ, con thì không có sân, nhưng mà giống như con có một cái suy nghĩ rằng kêu Thùy thì đi sang qua một cái lane khác. Nhưng mà sau đó con bắt cười, con mới nói với Thùy là thấy không, trước tiên á thì mình thấy chiếc xe này như vậy, xong mình sẽ nổi một cái cơn sân lên, là nếu mình không có control được á, mình sẽ nổi một cơn sân lên. Ủa cái người này là ai vậy? Tại sao phải chạy trước mặt mình, sao chạy kỳ vậy? Rồi mình tiếp tục những cái suy nghĩ khác. Và sau khi mình pass qua chiếc xe đó rồi, mình sẽ quay lại mình ngó cái người đó là ai. Cho nên con nói với Thùy, cái mới đầu nó có một cái thinking trước, rồi nó thinking cái thứ hai, rồi nó suy nghĩ cái thứ ba. Nếu như mình không có phải một cái người mà giống như là mình không có nhiều chuyện á, giống như mình không có nhiều chuyện, không có cái ngã mình không có cao á, thì mình chạy ngang qua rồi thôi mình cứ pass rồi, không nhìn, nhất định không nhìn nữa, thì cái đó là cũng như là một cái mình stop được những cái suy nghĩ của mình, thì lúc đó cái tâm mình nó được bình lặng hơn. Còn nếu như mình cứ suy nghĩ và mình sân si đối với cái người đó thì cái tâm mình nó sẽ bị rối loạn lên, thì cái sự thanh tịnh của cái tâm của mình sẽ mất. Đó cũng là một cái sự mà trói buộc cái tâm mình lại, làm cho mình bất tịnh. Dạ, A Di Đà Phật.
Very good.
Amitabha Master, I don't know if this story related to what you're talking about, but this morning, when I was on my way to the temple, there was a car right in front of me, starting to go slow and also changing lane incessantly. And then I don't know, but if I have the angry mind, but then at that time, I thought that I told my daughter, Tui, to change the lane so that we don't have to change to other lane so we don't see the other car. But if we were to get angry, we're looking at that. After we pass the car, we turn around and look at the driver, and then one thought give rise to a second thought, third thought, and it just continue incessantly. But if we are not nosy, we don't have that high of the self, the ego, then we can just pass by the car, and we definitely don't want to look at the driver, so that our mind become quiet and peace, rather than if we are angry or stupid. So it will cause our mind to become confused and chaos, and that is here we are being fettered and covered, so that our mind become impure.
That's a very nice example of someone who refused to be fettered and covered by someone else's karma and delusion. Very good. There's wisdom there. You see? So just my conjecture is that if she passed that driver and looked back, she would have found out that person is Republican. Never mind. Anyone else? So what do? Now you know you're fettered and covered by your own karmas, and you have to stop. Okay? Yes, two.
The thought is arise every time we trying to the drop it. Yeah.
Okay. They have three hands that are being raised here. We go to Catholic first. He's the fastest. Yes, 6.
Sometimes I do learn things from going to this temple, but...
You learn things from going to the temple? Which temple is that again?
And this I learned that, and I kind of practice it because one time I was with my coworker, and this tenant was having to play the music loud. We got his attention, and he wanted to fight my coworker, and my coworker wanted to fight him, and I told him, dude, just drop it. Do not hit him. Just drop it and let's go.
Wow.
Like, I cannot drop it. I need to hit this guy. I said, you need to see the bigger picture. Drop it. Drop that thought that you're having kicking his ass right now. So he's like, okay, I'm going to drop it, and we go together. Yes, drop it.
Wow, you're so Buddhist after all. No wonder she hangs out with you. Yes, Bosco in the back.
So I will do a kind of like a hua tao, but it's more as instead of reciting Amitofo, I will just reciting, I'm a loser. I'm a loser. I'm a loser. And I would question, who is a loser? Who is a loser? Am I a loser? Who is a loser? So I would just do a hua tao of loser. Years, 2 years, I'm just keep, we are a loser, I'm a loser.
Just those of you online who don't know Bosco, he's a doctor for crazy people. Have been a doctor for crazy people for a long time. Yes, 6. Go ahead, Mary Jo. 7, sorry.
I like the example of the driving.
It's everyday thing. You think cultivation is like something, somewhere else? No.
And I recognize my tendency to pass somebody and send the laser glare, what are you doing? But I think that when you recognize you have a choice, I can do that again because I know that, right? That's what I always do. And when you recognize you slow down enough to realize you have a choice, I can do that or not this time. that you start to realize that sometimes when you recognize you have that choice, you can choose to do something else and drop what you used to do.
Very good, very good. You all are echoing the same theme. Drop it, like a Catholic put it. So from now on, we call it a Catholic strategy. Do it like the Catholics. Drop it. Yes, 8.
Thank you, Master. We have a question here from Empty Mirror. I think that's Alex. But anyhow, he says, Master, what is the difference between running away from our commitment and dropping a thought? Sometimes I only feel peace when I think of running away from something hard, but that doesn't seem healthy or correct.
Okay, very good. Let's say you run away from something, okay, so that you don't think about that anymore. Yes, that works. Until, come on, therapist, tell me until.
You can only run away from it for so long.
And until
Until it comes back.
they catch up with you. You can run away, but they will eventually catch up with you. Yeah? Like driving on the freeway. You can pass someone, but eventually it can catch up with you. That's a problem. You cannot run away from it forever. All right? So to run away is not a good way. It's only a temporary fix. Okay? It's in Buddhism we call it fixing the outside, the exterior. What we take care of in Buddhism, Buddhist practices, we fix the inside. We fix our core. Okay? So we fix the core problem. We don't worry about the outside. All right? Very good. 554. Prompted by pride, arrogance, and indulgence, the minds drift and wander. Okay, I said don't have to put your hands up. Okay. And yes, JC.
오늘 안녕하세요. 오늘 고통에 빠진 친구랑 같이 절에 왔는데 그 친구를 돕고 싶은 마음이 너무 커서 제가 거기에 좀 집착하고 있다는 거를 좀 느껴가지고 질문을 드리고 싶은데 그 친구의 문제를 들었을 때 제가 답을 줄 수가 없는 그런 문제였고 근데 그 친구가 많이 힘들어해서 근데 제가 이제 부처님의 법을 만나고 많은 고통이 해소된 것을 알고 있기 때문에 제가 뭐라도 해보고 싶다. 그 친구가 저한테 그렇게 말했거든요. 명상도 한번 배워보고 싶고 같이 한번 절에 가보고 싶다라고 해서 오늘 이제 4시 반에 여기까지 왔는데 근데 잠깐 앉아 있다가 이제 화엄경 강설이 아무래도 어려우니까 자기는 이제 차에 가 있겠다 하고 이제 잠깐 자리를 피했는데 근데 이제 끝나고 나서 같이 명상을 배우기로 했는데 제가 걱정하는 것은 제가 돕고 싶은 마음이 너무 커서 좀 망칠까봐 이것을 망쳐버릴까봐 좀 걱정이 됩니다. 그러니까 친구가 부처님의 법을 만나고 고통을 덜었으면 좋겠는데 제가 현명하지 못해서 좀 오히려 이렇게 멀어질까봐 배우지 못하게 될까봐 그게 좀 걱정이 되거든요. 그래서 그 마스터와 여러분들께 어떻게 하면 좋을지 좀 조언을 구하고 싶습니다. 감사합니다.
I'd like to ask these questions to Master and other Dharma brothers and sisters. Today, I came together with my friend who is currently suffering a lot. In my mind, I really wanted to help her. So I feel like that I might be really attached to this thought of helping her. I'm listening to her issues, and these issues are not being able to answer by me. And then I see my friend is suffering. So I wish that she could meet Buddha Dharma just the way I did, and I got better. So the mind that arise from me saying I wanted to help her. And we talked about it, and then the friend said she wanted to learn meditation and wanted to go to the temple. So she was here, but I understand the lesson is a little bit hard because it's avatamsaka sutra, so it is a little bit difficult. So she says she's gonna go back to her car, and she will wait. So our original plan is after the lecture, we're gonna get together and she will learn how to meditate. But the things that I'm really concerned at this time is I might ruin this plan to help her because of my thought of trying to help her so much. It's like an attachment. This way might not be the most wise way, but maybe it might give her an adverse reaction to that. Maybe she might not have a chance to meet Buddha Dharma. Thank you.
Okay, we need a therapist for you. Lucky for us, we have 2 therapists here today. Let me take a break. Go ahead. Can we get some free professional advices here? Yes, 7.
I mean, the first thing I thought of is in my work, I feel very attached sometimes. I really like the person that I'm working with, and I feel very attached to wanting to help them. And I start working very hard, and I'm worried about messing up and not giving them the right guidance.
Is that a bad thing?
Yes, that is a line that you can cross.
Oh.
That isn't always healthy.
Oh.
So sometimes I have to coach myself to step back and let go of that and just plant seeds with them and hope that those seeds will sprout for them when they're ready for that, rather than trying to make it happen. So just planting seeds with the person is important.
It's so Buddhist. God, planting seeds. I mean, geez. You guys are so boring. Yes, the crazy doctor. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, 2 months ago I made the same experiences like Mary Jones. It's a custody cases. Custody, right? It's, mom and dad fighting for 50%, and then the judge tell the dad, you only get 20% because you are not competent to be a father. So dad came to me.
Because he's crazy.
Yeah, he is too crazy, right? So out of my empathy and care, I write him a letter to the judge. And then the judge, the attorney last week, and Child Protective Services last week, and they questioned my letter. Yeah, so like sometimes we need to know more how to wisdom to
detach.
To detach. We need a wisdom to how to give empathy and care, But sometimes it's just because he's a father, I'm a father, I cannot do that.
Republican,
so, yeah. You say I'm Republican.
Yeah, Republican,
I write you.
If we were a Democrat, it would be so different.
Like, it would be different, right?
Yeah.
Losing being neutral.
Thank you. Very good. You see? Yes, Mary Jo.
I just wanted to add to that what Bosco is talking about is the concept of empathic detachment.
Empathic detachment.
Where you have empathy for the person, but you don't get so invested in a certain outcome with them that it rips you apart.
I see. Oh. Yes, Andres?
I think there's a way to do things without using as much mental effort, and I think a lot of times mental straining will actually hinder a good outcome because you're thinking too much. So I think you can just go along with the process. So I've done a lot of music improvisation. I used to play jazz piano, and if you're thinking too much when you're trying to improvise, it won't sound good. So you have to let go of the excess thoughts, the thoughts that don't really matter, and just Master calls it single-minded thinking, where you're only just focused on the one thing, which is just the process and playing the notes, and not the other thoughts that are really blocking you from a good outcome. And I think there's a way to do that with a lot of other things in life. Mm-hmm. So this situation too, probably.
Mm-hmm. Boy, you guys are good. You're so insightful, all of you. Fascinating. Yes, 8.
Thank you, Master. We have a comment from Emily T.
Yes.
Help her by giving her blessings. She doesn't need to know.
Very good. Yes, another one?
I was just going to finish the rest of it. You can get a plaque for her instead of feeling the need to make or persuade her.
Okay, JMT.
마스터, 저는 대답이 아니라 질문이거든요. 들리세요, 세라니? 저는 대답이 아니라 질문이에요.
Master, this is not an answer. This is actually a question. It's from Jumi.
네, 법문 초반에 마스터께서 보살이 낮은 레벨의 제가자와 수행을 한다. 그리고 청정하지 않은 사람과 가까이 하면서 스스로를 청정하게 한다라고 말씀하셨어요. 법문 초반에. 세라님 한번 끊을게요.
So at the beginning, Master mentioned about bodhisattvas cultivate together with lower levels cultivators. And at the same, he's able to make himself more pure.
질문은 보살이 청정하지 않은 낮은 레벨의 제가자와 함께 수행을 하면서 어떻게 보살 스스로를 청정하게 하는지가 궁금한 거거든요. 뭐 예를 들면 뭐 청정하지 않은 사람의 그런 걸 인욕하면서 스스로를 청정하게 하는 건지 아니면 도와주면서 청정하게 하는 건지 구체적으로 어떤 걸 수행한다는 건지가 제 질문입니다.
So when you said that, I'm just wondering what kind of practice they do that they make themselves more pure. Is it something like they're practicing patience, or are they trying to help them? I'd like to know what type of practice they do.
They reduce the thoughts of anger, greed, stupidity. That's how you purify yourself. All right?
보살님들이 청정하게 만드는 것입니다.
Still more? Okay.
그러니까 결국에 그러면 이제 당연히 당연히 참진치가 일어나는데 그럼 결국엔 인욕을 수행하면서 청정하게 한다라고 그렇게 정리를 하면 될까요?
So if I may summarize, eventually by practicing greed, anger, stupidity, is this something they're practicing patience?
When they recognize that they have thoughts of anger, when they recognize that they are greedy, they recognize they are doing something stupid, then they stop it. That's a difference. That's a distinction between practice versus theory. See, monks and nuns like us, like me, we learn to tell you about theory. You say, you know, that's greedy, that's stupid. But what we're discussing today from all of you, you're talking about what you do about your stupid thoughts, what you do about your angry thoughts, what you do about your about your greedy thoughts. That's what's going to help you open your wisdom. Not talk about the theory, not talk about the principles, what you should be doing versus what you're doing about it. Yes, 6.
Thank you, Master. I would like to say thank you to our global audience tuning in today from both Korea at the Way Places here in California, and especially on YouTube. I think in the context of this discussion, I wanted to highlight a comment from Bhante Verapano. Bhante says, I am grateful to know about the Master, and I bow to the great Master. His comment is give, and I would like to celebrate, as this is Bhante's first ever super thanks on our live stream, and he gives a super thanks of 100 euros. Thank you, Bhante.
Oh, wow. And allow me to also say how important it is to be generous. without being prompted. So consider it as my not having to pass around a donation basket. It's so cool, you guys. You thank you, everyone. This is to me, we're getting to be such our Dharma session is becoming so interesting because you're all speaking Dharma from your perspective. And this makes the experience so much richer, so much more multifaceted, and so much more international. So cool. Thank you very much. Yes, JMT.
왔어. 어제 통역이랑 대답이 시간차가 있어서 좀 오해가 있으신데 일단 아미타 부처님이 시키시면 뭐 할 거고요. 네, 들리셨나요, 세라님?
다시 한번 얘기해 주세요.
아, 네. 어제 제가 얘기하는 거랑 통역이 시간차가 있어서 마스터께서 좀 오해를 하시고 있는 부분이 있는데 아미타 부처님이 시키시면 무조건 하고요.
Master, yesterday I made a comment, but I think there was some timing problem. Yes, I will do anything when Amitofo requests. She meant she will do what Amitofo requests to her, whatever it is.
Okay. Let me try to finish the slides so that we don't have to come back because this is interesting here. Okay. So it says here. Let's read the slide here. This is Master Shenhua's insights. I'd like you to sort of remember this in your daily lives. He says 3 things: pride, arrogance, indulgence cause problem for us. What is pride here? Looking down on someone. Okay? Arrogance, someone, not everyone else. If you look down upon anyone at all, that's pride. That's not welcome. Okay? Arrogance is that an attitude. You have a bad attitude. Okay? And in the self-indulgence is that you don't follow rules. This is so insightful from a Chinese perspective. Okay? When you have such attitude, colored by pride, arrogance, and indulgence, your minds will drift and wander. This is the wisdom from the Buddhas, folks. Think about it. The Buddha says, don't go very far, don't look very far, look at yourself. You have pride, you have proud thoughts, arrogant thoughts, thoughts of self-indulgence, okay? If you have such thoughts, then look closely. Your minds are drifting and are wandering. We are scattered. Isn't it interesting? This is so Buddhist. This is so Mahayana. We look at ourselves. If someone drives badly, yes, it affects us, but instead of blaming that person, we look at ourselves. Are we afflicted? Are we proud? Are we arrogant? Are we self-indulgent? That is cultivation, folks. Okay? This is what separates Master Srinivasa's Dharma, Mahayana, with the rest of the Buddha Dharma, because we look at ourselves. Okay? Are we afflicted by pride? Are we afflicted by arrogance? Are we afflicted by self-indulgence? Because if we are, look closely, we are scattered. We are so scattered. Our mind drift. Actually, chu here, drift and wander comes from the Chinese word chu. He's actually chasing after. We're pursuing something, aren't we? And then tang here is we agitated and we are chaotic. That's what happens inside of us. Not just inside of us. If that's the case for us, then it's the case with the person that Lyle is trying to help. Okay? She's agitated and she's restless, have to chase after something. Okay, how can we help? First of all, who says we have to help? The help thing here, at the first level, okay, that we all can do is to let them vent by showing that we care. Why is that helpful? Because no one else really cares. Okay? You don't need to solve problems. Okay? There's a touch of humanity where someone's in trouble and we say, I care. I feel your sorrow. I feel your pain, your suffering. I care. You can vent on me. You can cry in my shoulders. That's all you need to do to help. Because it gives them relief. It allows them to release their angst, their afflictions. This is what therapists do, by the way. I feel they let them sit on a chair, sit down on a comfortable chair, lie down on a couch, because it allows them to vent. Doctor, I think I hate my mother. It's venting, and that release there is so helpful. And when you allow the release here, then they become normal, that they can listen, they can fix their own problems. You're wrong in assuming you must fix people's problems. I believe in allowing them to vent, okay? Provide relief for the pressure, internal pressure, and when they see clearly, they can fix it themselves. We don't have to help. And that's the attitude, folks. I know you care. I know you're good people. But I ask you to learn to allow people to vent and show them we care. Because it takes a lot of strength to be able to allow them to dump on you. They need to dump their anger, need to dump their anxiety. Your wife needs to let it out on you. Your husbands too. God, I'm sound too so sexist, you know. It's a Vietnamese thing. Just kidding. Okay, so it's so important. Okay, because you're learning to recognize it, and at the same time you're learning to become stronger so that you can allow them to dump on you. Cry in your shoulders. Release the pressure. That's what you do in order to help. I submit to you the 2 steps of helping. Number 1, allow them to dump and not be affected by it. It takes a lot of strength, folks. Because you see so much suffering. And in the rules of those pros, they said, you don't go, there's a line you don't cross. That means that you don't get afflicted. Okay? To the point where you overdo it. You try too hard. That's affliction. You try too hard, you are afflicted. Okay? So, you learn to allow them to dump on you. Okay? And number two, then, wait for them to ask for specific help. Don't offer help to them freely. They said, I feel better now. Can we have a cup of coffee? Huh? Can I come over to your house and stay at night? You wait for them to ask. Don't offer it. Play hard to get. It's like courtship. Never mind. Got that? I see you as learning from me to be kind, compassionate, and so forth, but don't overdo it. Okay? There is a way to go about it so that you don't overwhelm people with your help and make them dependent upon you so that they dump on you all the time. All right? Next slide. The thus come one speaks still and quests and dharmas for them. Good eyes know this from reflecting, and his heart rejoices.
如来为说极净法，善目照之心喜庆。
So we just talked to you about you recognize you have a bad attitude, that you are, what's the first one? Proud. You have a bad attitude and you are self-indulgent. That spells trouble for you. Okay? Because it manifests itself as your mind is scattered. It drifts and wanders. So far, so good. So what is the remedy? First of all, you have to see, it's 2-step again. First, you recognize there's a problem. Right? Second, Buddha then speaks still and question dharmas of them. He talks about chant, how to use self-reflection to calm yourself down. In layman's term, meditation, Vipassana practices, Tantra practices, they all are various methods, Buddhist methods, to help you bring your attention back to your agitation, to your affliction, so that you can calm down. When you're agitated, I just read a piece of news recently. Some therapist wrote on the news, he says, when you're angry, don't vent. It caught my attention right away. He says, So this psychologist, he says, if you're angry, and the common fix is that people like to vent. He says, don't vent. Do this instead. Guess what? That's what the recommendation is. Meditate for 15 minutes, 20 minutes. It's much better than venting. And that's what the Buddha is talking about. If your mind is chaotic and scattered and afflicted, cross your legs. You calm yourself down, step further, Amitofo, Amitofo, Amitofo. You calm yourself down even more. Does it help? That's from a person with great wisdom, from Master, the Heavenly King, Good Eyes. Okay? He knows it from reflecting. Chao Chu, okay? No, not reflecting, but from Chao here is to illuminate. Illuminate what? Looking at his affliction. This is Mahayana wisdom, folks. Look at your affliction. Why am I angry? Okay? By looking at that, you fix it. Ordinary people do not want to look at their anger, do not want to look at their greed. They said, oh, it's okay. Greed is good, like the Wolf of Wall Street. I'm quoting the authority. Okay? So you look upon yourself. Okay? And when you do that, he's also telling you, this is the view, this is the insights from the Mahasattvas and from the Buddhas. His heart rejoices. It fills him up with joy. Instead of being a victim of your afflictions, of your greed, your anger, your depression, you reflect and your heart rejoices. Meaning, enter samadhi. There's an antidote right away. When these people, because Good Eyes is not like us, by the way, mind you, don't think it's that easy, okay? At his level, he says, let me give you a tip at my level, and you can be like that too someday. Okay? When I'm afflicted, okay, I reflect, I look at myself, and I bring joy to my life. Isn't that cool? Oh, never mind. You don't get what I'm talking about. It's okay. The time will come. This is so insightful to me. This is so beautiful. That's why I wanted to take another extra 15 minutes to finish it. Thank you, everyone.